Hi, I'm Emily from Baylily Meets, and here we are again in the tent, and today we are talking to the lovely Simon Clarke.
Hello.
And Simon is here to chat to us today all about wedding music and DJs and what to expect when you're booking a very important part of your day. So Simon, tell us a little bit about what you do, who you are, where you've come from.
Okay, well, for 25 years I've worked in broadcasting. And I've been a radio presenter and a music producer and an audio producer and an event host. In the course of doing that, I started DJing in nightclubs in Birmingham, probably about 15, 20 years ago.
Centre of the universe.
Absolutely. And then moved down here 10 years ago, kept getting asked to do stuff, and made a conscious decision with a friend of mine that we would both go and buy some kit. And we bought identical, modern, stylish looking equipment because we noticed there was a big gap in the market.
Right.
A lot of mobile disco kit looked like it did back in the 1980s.
A bit like Cool Kev from the 1980s.
Yeah, exactly. So we thought if we can create a clear point of difference between how we look and how everybody else looks, then that would be great for us, because there's an awful lot of younger couples who have different expectations. You know, couples in their late 20s want more music from the early noughties, a lot of R&B and stuff that I would have been playing on the radio back in the day. So I've already got a great knowledge of that music because of what we were doing. So, you know, it's younger couples have a very strong sense of what they don't want. So if we could create that point of difference visually, then that would also help enforce the fact that we'll produce a point of difference orally on the night floor.
Absolutely. So what's the best, in terms of if someone's thinking about what they want at a DJ, what kind of things do you suggest to them in terms of how they go about working on a playlist with you on a day? Do you just take into consideration everything they want, or do you offer suggestions to, like, this would be a good sort of mix as you got from your, are you there for just the evening, are you there for the daytime as well? Do you have a transition throughout with the music?
Generally we only offer the evening music. We can do daytime stuff, but it's not very cost effective for a bride and groom to pay for me to be there all day just hitting play. So
what would you suggest for that person who was thinking about the transition of music throughout the day in terms of what they did before they got to you?
I would say that music is very subjective, and it is all about personal taste. Quite often, if I'm doing a marquee wedding, we will go along in the morning and set the equipment up, and we'll leave them with a radio mic and a speaker and an iPod. And it could be that that iPod is one that I've loaded with a playlist that's appropriate, or it could be that they've given me a wish list of what they want, and I've built that and provided it on the iPod. And then generally I'll speak to a best man, leave them some instructions and say...
You left it with the best man? Oh goodness.
Leave it with the best man, give them some instructions, say this is how it all works, and then that way they've got a radio mic to use for the speeches and the music on the iPod for the wedding breakfast. And it does me a favour because it means I can go and set up earlier in the day and not disrupt the evening, and also it means I can just get there and kick straight off for everybody. So if they give you a basic idea of the sort of music they like, if you're experienced enough, you can then add to that. Quite a lot of people, if they're providing music for a wedding breakfast, will just stick on a Bublé CD and let it run. But for me, that's a great opportunity to be able to show everybody in the room what you can play. Because if they're expecting you to play Oops Upside Your Head and Come On Eileen, then you know their expectations will probably be quite low unless that's exactly what they want. But if if you can prove that you've got a lot of recent stuff and you can mix that up with some older stuff while they're eating, they won't be frightened to come up and ask you for stuff on the actual day itself. You
have a really, really difficult role, actually. I mean, I've been to several weddings where you sit there and you're literally like, everyone's sat on the tables, no one's on the dance floor. You really have to drum up that kind of emotion to get everyone wanting to get on their feet, don't you? So, I mean, I love to dance, but how do you sort of get everyone up on their feet? What kind of methods do you use to try and really engage everyone?
I think there's an awful lot of psychological safety involved in a wedding. If you've got a young couple who have got friends who've known each other for a while, then it's relatively easy to get the night going, because they'll have had nights out together over the years. Thank you very much. They'll have known each other long enough to understand that they can dance and have a good time and feel relaxed around these people, because they would have had nights out and what have you. If you're an older couple and they've got together quite late in life and his work friends don't know her work friends, and her uni friends don't know his uni friends. Sometimes it can be a challenge to get a night like that going. From a DJ's perspective, you have to understand that you're an option. They can choose to dance, they can choose not to dance. Otherwise, you can just get bent out of shape in the corner thinking, why isn't anybody dancing? But you can't take it personally, and sometimes it doesn't matter what you play during an evening.
You're not going to get those.
If it's a warm summer evening and you've got evening guests turning up who haven't seen daytime guests, they'll want to sit outside and have a chat and catch up. And it's, whilst it may be your wedding, for many people it's a social occasion.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't matter what you play, you can't make people dance in that situation. So you just have to wait for the signs in the room for everything to kick off. And then when you see that spark, you have to go for it. Although the last wedding we were at was fantastic because the groom was marrying the sister of his best mate. And they'd known each other for years. So all of his friends knew all of her friends. The families knew each other.
Sounds like it could have been messy.
And I seem to remember that party, I started at 7:30 and I had a full floor until we finished about 7:30 midnight.
It really makes a difference.
It does. It's from a DJ's point of view, nights like that are absolutely wonderful because you get instant validation that you're doing a good job because everybody's having a good time.
I've often seen as well, some people on their invitations for weddings will put, is there a song that you'd like to see at your wedding, and sort of give you that feedback before you even get to the venue. Do you recommend that? Or
they can be a bit of a minefield sometimes because sometimes people will chuck a curveball in just for the hell of it, for a joke, and just because one friend of yours likes one song in particular, if I've got a room of 150 people, I want to make as many of those people dance as possible rather than just have an empty dance floor with one person. But if you're a good DJ, you can work all of those requests in, and if you've already been briefed by the bride and groom of what their expectations are, what they do and they don't want, then you can sometimes lose the odd request. But generally, if they're giving you the slips with the requests on, they have already edited them themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very true, actually. We're definitely not having upside head again. No, gone. So if you were a bride and groom and you were looking to book a wedding DJ, obviously we'd love everyone to book DJ Simon, but if you were out there looking for a wedding DJ, what kind of things would you suggest you look for in a wedding DJ, apart from obviously recommendations, but things like insurance and that kind of stuff? What things are important, would you say? Well,
obviously the basics. Have they got public liability insurance? Have they pat tested their equipment? Do they have a contingency? If they're a one-man operation, if they can't make it, what do they do?
Happens?
So I work with a team of 4 lads. We've all got identical equipment. We've all come from a similar broadcast background. And there are some weekends in the summer where all 4 of us are out. So we pay a retainer to a 5th person to not drink, not go out. And then normally about 8 o'clock, we send them a text and we just say, crack on, off the hook. But they know how we work. They understand how our equipment works. We've got a central online.
So it should be smooth.
Yeah, we've got a central online cloud account which has got job sheets for every gig. So if one of us has an accident on the way to a venue, they can text Andrew, and Andrew will download the document, turn up, be able to backfill that requirement. Because especially if it's the busiest time of the year.
Absolutely.
And also from our point of view, it means that we've got someone who can reflect our brand.
Sure, and I think that's very important as well. If you have got a very supportive brand, you don't want someone else to go and be complete flyboy and completely not what you're representing.
You can absolutely trash all your hard work in one hit. The other thing I would recommend if they're looking at hiring a DJ is Facebook pages are brilliant because the reviews on a Facebook page are genuine. Sometimes they might be other suppliers who are posting a genuine review, but you can easily spot them by clicking on the identity of the person who posted the review, and if you find out they're a wedding caterer, then But check the venues out that they've played. Is their venue similar to the kind of venue that you want? And if it's a high-end country house wedding venue and that's where you're getting married, you're going to be in a safe pair of hands.
So you do a lot of country house venues and formal venues. Do you do many outdoor venues, like marquee type venues?
Yeah.
And with that in mind, if someone was booking a marquee wedding, is there anything they need to think about supplying for you before that you get there?
No, we're really good. All our uplighting, which we provide as standard for the marquee, is battery powered. So we don't have to run a load of cables. Also, from our point of view, at the end of the night when we finish, it means we can just stick them all in a bag and
off you go.
We're gone in 20 minutes, which a lot of venues love. I played Stanwell House in Lymington over the summer, and they couldn't believe that at 20 minutes after the gig had finished, we were closing the boot of the car and everything was gone, because that means they get to go home
Absolutely,
earlier.
and that's nice for everybody, isn't it?
But with a marquee, the uplighting's always battery powered, and all of our equipment will run off one plug.
Amazing.
So we're not going to be drawing masses off a generator.
Perfect.
And we do marquees quite a bit. We do Bournemouth beach weddings. We do a lot of house parties in private gardens. We're doing a music festival in August in a house in Lymington, which will be quite cool.
So you're quite diverse then?
Well, yeah. I mean, we've actually recommended quite a few of the bands that are going to play at that festival, because obviously doing a lot of weddings.
Get to see a lot.
When we work at Burley Manor, we work alongside a lot of bands. Penton Park quite often have bands in as well. One of the nice things about our rig and our kit we use is it's quite compact, so we can tuck away in the corner and there's still room for a band. And that's something else that couples need to consider when they're booking a DJ. If the venue requires room turnaround time, can they get in and set up in the 45 minutes it takes the venue to turn the room around? Because if you're hiring a DJ whose rig takes 2 hours, that's not cost effective.
Okay, before we go, if you could recommend one key song for the wedding, that's the ultimate wedding song, what would you choose? I know it's very subjective to different, but what would you choose? The
song this year, 2017, that has never let me down is Ed Sheeran's Shape of You.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like a bit of Ed.
Well, there was one wedding this year where I had to play the Macarena, and the bride had said to me before, I don't want any group participation dance songs, but she was about 2 hours into the party, she'd had a few drinks. She said, my bridesmaids really want the Macarena. I said, absolutely, it's not a problem. But I didn't feel quite so bad playing it because I mixed it into Shape of You.
That's incredible.
Yeah, well, I came away feeling like, yeah, if I've got to play it, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the Macarena. If that's the kind of
You've
song...
educated a little bit.
If that's the kind of song that you want at your party, you're the customer at the end of the day, and we're there to play what you want.
But bring them into the
but
century.
YMCA, a little bit inside me dies every time I have to play that. So I might not necessarily be the right DJ. In fact, the only time I played that was as a first dance at a gay wedding in Maidenhead last summer, and they had a huge dance routine worked out. We started with a Bublé song, they got to the first chorus, and then I hit YMCA. They rushed off to the side, got the costumes on, came back out with their ushers, did a full routine, and it was epic.
Should have been a fly on the wall for that one.
It was fantastic.
Well, Simon, thank you so much for talking to us in the tent today. We do love our little tent in the winter. I hope you've stayed warm.
It's lovely and warm with the burner over there, and it's just a shame we didn't get to the mulled wine today.
I'm sorry. Next time. Thank you very much for listening. If you'd like to find out more about Baylily Bell Tents and what we do, you can visit our website on www.baylilybelltents.co.uk. And of course, if you'd like to find out more about the lovely Simon, you can find him on
facebook.com/Hampshire DJ.
Hampshire DJ. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye.